From strange, unidentified noises to missing submarines, here are the strangest underwater mysteries. But first, we'd like to thank our subscribers for leaving us all these great comments recently. Be sure to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 11. The Bloop. A strange noise can be picked up on low frequency while underwater, known as the bloop. It was detected by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and remained a mystery for quite some time. What makes some believe this noise is actually from a massive sea monster is that it tends to get louder the further you go underwater. The frequency is also different sometimes, rising rapidly during certain tests. During an interview with scientists who picked up the mysterious noise, said that they believe the noise wasn't man-made, nor from a volcano. The most reasonable theory seemed to be that the bloop was noise coming from melting glacial ice, but not too many are convinced. Could the sound actually be from some massive sea creature that is yet to be discovered? Number 10. USS Scorpion. There are many submarine mysteries that we might get into, but it seems as though some massive vehicles can simply vanish within the depths of our vast oceans. Such is the case for the USS Scorpion. This massive ship was commissioned in July of 1960. After a routine extended training operation, the Scorpion never returned to the shipyard on the day it was supposed to, and it simply vanished. A crew of 99 men who boarded one of the first nuclear submarines were somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean and all communications were gone. They realized that no one was responding for 10 days and the Navy assumed they were all casualties. A few months later, the ship was discovered, largely intact, 10,000 feet below the surface. In 1993, the Navy declassified some information about their stories of the events. The Navy claims an electrical error caused them to launch a torpedo at themselves, as strange as it sounds. People who were previously on the submarine feel as though this is a false narrative released by the Navy official. Private investigators claim there was a serious lack of maintenance. Number 9. 1966, the Palomares Incident. The objective of the U.S. Global Strike Command Force was to always have a nuclear bomb on board a Bf-52 bomber in the sky. This would allow the commander-in-chief to coordinate an attack on a specific target without such a long wait. Sometimes there was enough plutonium on board to bring an end to the world as we know it. Not one, but 4 hydrogen bombs went missing in 1966 over the coast of Spain. It was scheduled to receive a refueling mid-air by a tanker plane when tragedy struck. It appeared as though a few planes made contact at this moment, taking the lives of 3 out of 7 total crew members. One of the 4 hydrogen bombs on board exploded due to the contact upon impact. However, the conventional explosion managed to still cause a massive amount of radiation to spread, causing a massive cleanup effort. 2 bombs were recovered eventually during Operation Chrome Dome with the help of this submersible vehicle known as Alvin. One of the nukes has still yet to be found, despite many intensive searches with dozens of ships. It still remains a mystery to this day where it's at. Number 8. The Philippine Sea Incident. There is certainly more than one nuclear device that's been lost at the bottom of the sea. Sometimes the errors that seem to be made are quite ridiculous considering how much powerful equipment is on board. This time, a Douglas A-4E Skyhawk carrying a B-43 thermonuclear bomb did a nosedive off an aircraft carrier and into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Japan. This was due to a pre-flight human error. The incident was captured on camera and you really just have to facepalm here. The pilot, weapon, and aircraft were all lost when the pilot seemed to have not noticed how long the runway of the U.S. Ticonderoga was. It's believed that everything is at least 16,000 feet below the surface of the ocean, which makes it rather unlikely that anything will be recovered. It wasn't until 1989 that the Pentagon released information about this 1-ton megabomb going missing, which certainly upset the Japanese. Where this weapon of mass destruction is still remains a mystery. Number 7. The Joyita. In October of 1955, the MV Joyita left from Apia, Samoa, and was built as a fishing and trading charter boat. The vessel carried 25 passengers and crew who all vanished mysteriously in 1955. When it was discovered, the ship was in deplorable condition with corroded pipes, but also a fully functional radio. Despite it not being in good condition, it was extremely buoyant. The ones who discovered the boat were dumbfounded why the crew and passengers didn't wait to be rescued. They also stumbled across some bloody bandages, making them wonder. Many hypotheses had developed from this case. Some believe that they ditched the boat in order to not pay back the loan they had taken out to pay for it. Others believe some hostile Japanese pirates attacked the vessel and were to blame. Number 6. Mystery of the Kursk Submarine. The Kursk was a mega-nuclear submarine designed by the Soviets to be one of the strongest, most indestructible works of fine Soviet engineering. Just 10 years after it took the seas, it was involved in an unforgettable disaster. August 12, 2000, military exercises were taking place in the Barents Sea, and only the most experienced submariners got the chance to be a part of it. Contact was randomly seized with the submarine, and 2 days later, it was revealed to the public that the sub was at the bottom of the sea. The Russian people believed that people were still on board, waiting to be rescued. Officials gave several reasons why it sank, but they didn't say anything about it possibly being from an aggressive foreign country. Several countries also wanted to offer their assistance to help rescue those at the bottom of the sea, but Russia denied all offers. Were there secrets on board that they didn't want Westerners to find out about? Other Russian Navy experts seem rather certain that this was an attack by the US. The submarine was raised from the sea eventually. Many of those who lost family members still don't feel like they're being told the truth. To this day, even Putin is guilty of covering up some stuff about this. Number 5. Thermal vents. The bottom of the ocean is probably the closest to hell any living organism can get to. This vent here spits out boiling hot sulfuric acid that would likely turn you into a skeleton in a matter of seconds. And there are actually tiny organisms that live in those vents as well. They're known as hydrothermal worms, and they're incredibly creepy looking if you look at them through a microscope. How could such a simple organism survive such hot temperatures? Feasting off methane and sulphides, some tubeworms can grow to be about 6 feet long. This definitely makes you wonder if animals on Earth are able to survive some inhospitable conditions. Some studies even tend to determine that whatever is surviving here could have been around for billions of years. Number 4. The Immortal Jellyfish. Humans have only been on this planet for 200,000 years, which is just a minuscule fraction in comparison to other creatures. Jellyfish have been on Earth for 700 million years, which is 3,500 times longer than us. The immortal jellyfish lives far from the surface of the ocean and can literally live forever. The only setback is that it has to actually become a blob of jelly to do so. Their tentacles retract and they restart life all over again, starting off again in their juvenile state. The only known way they can die is if they get eaten by another fish or if they get a disease. Their diet mainly consists of fish eggs, plankton, and small mollusks. Scientists are currently studying these jellyfish to see if they can find a cure for an animal mutation. Number 3. Is Atlantis really out there? There are quite a few theories about the advanced lost city of Atlantis still being out there somewhere. Many have spent countless hours trying to understand where exactly Atlantis could be located. But does it even exist at all? Our best known clue of uncovering this mystery is from Plato's description. In the Atlantis dialogues, he describes a vast, war-hungry empire to the west that was far ahead of their time technologically. Almost like they were from some other kind of planet. The civilization then suffered from consequences of a severe flood that led to their demise. Some feel as though Atlantis wasn't really meant to be taken all that seriously until modern times, which seems to be a result of people not thoroughly reading Plato's works. He apparently seems to be referring to Atlantis as a metaphor of some type of utopian society, and it's just a hypothetical city. This then allowed for Socrates to have something to talk about and make references to. However, we have seen unbelievable cities discovered underwater before, but it'd be nothing like Atlantis. Number 2. The Lusitania. The answers to many questions about the first major conflict of the world can be found at the bottom of the Atlantic Sea. But since it's so deep underwater, there are certainly some challenges with examining the remains. Although the British ship is only 300 feet of water or so, the cold Irish Sea is no easy hurdle to get across. Although it's not debatable as to how it sunk, it's debatable still if the Lusitania was carrying weapons or not, secretly bringing in arms to the British. A German U-boat hit it with a torpedo, and it sank quickly to the bottom of the ocean. The Americans were apparently tricked into believing that this was a civilian ship, and we declared war with the Germans due to their supposed war crimes. In 1982, the British finally came forward about what was on board, and it was more than just rich Victorian upper-class people. They needed to state, apparently, that there was a large amount of explosives and ammunition still stored inside, which was highly dangerous. This had sparked many conspiracy theories that the ship was deliberately put into danger in order to get America into the intense, horrible conflict. Why would they do that, you think? Money? As we mentioned before, the New World Order likes to supply weapons to both sides in order to gain profits, and the arms on boards were most likely made by the DuPont family. Number 1. Greenland missing nukes. If we could simply drain the ocean, how many mysteries would be solved? How many bones of missing people would be uncovered? And how many nuclear missiles would we find? The Soviet Union never released the amount of broken arrows that have gone missing from their stockpile. In 1968, the USA agreed to beef up their military presence on the nearly inhospitable landmass known as Greenland. We felt as though the Soviets would possibly strike this location first due to its strategic location in the northeast. B-52s calmly patrolled the skies here, ready to demolish multiple cities if asked to do so. No one knows for sure what caused it to crash, but the bomber crashed off the coast of the Baffin Bay, and once again, everything went missing, including 4 hydrogen bombs. The USA officials had claimed to have found the weapons and demolished them. However, according to declassified documents, that's not the case. While we do have proof that the pilot was okay, the WMDs, not so much. Trying to look for the misplaced WMDs in the frigid and dark conditions of the Arctic was certainly no easy task. While some of the wreckage was recovered in Operation Chrome Dome, it's still believed that one complete hydrogen bomb was not recovered. Danish citizens who worked at Thule were also granted compensation after many were diagnosed with cancer. Could the wrong people somehow get a hold of one of these broken arrows and use it against us someday in the future? Only time will tell.